in the bustling studio of ABC's The View, where heated debates and celebrity guests often collide in a whirlwind of opinions and entertainment. An ordinary episode took an extraordinary turn when celebrity chef Guy Fieri stepped onto the set as the day's special guest, his signature spiky hair and flamboyant personality immediately electrifying the atmosphere. But little did the audience know that this appearance would lead to one of the most shocking moments in daytime television history, as co-host Joy Behar, known for her sharp wit and unfiltered commentary on everything from politics to pop culture, found herself in a rapidly escalating confrontation with the diners, drive-ins and dive star over a seemingly innocuous topic that quickly spiraled out of control, beginning with a light-hearted segment on holiday cooking tips where Fieri enthusiastically demonstrated his famous trash can nachos recipe, piling layers of chips, cheese, and various toppings in a comically oversized container, drawing laughs from the panel at first. But Behar, ever the skeptic, interjected with a pointed question about the health implications of such indulgent dishes in a time when obesity rates are soaring, accusing Fieri of promoting unhealthy eating habits to impressionable viewers, which prompted Fieri to defend his culinary empire by arguing that food is about joy and flavor, not constant calorie counting. And as the exchange grew tenser, Behar doubled down, calling his style of cooking a contributor to America's health crisis, while Fieri fired back by suggesting that Behar's constant criticism was more toxic than any deep-fried delight, the audience gasping as the verbal sparring intensified, with co-hosts Whoopi Goldberg and Sunny Hosting attempting to mediate but failing to quell the rising tempers, leading to Behar standing up from her seat in a dramatic huff, declaring that she couldn't sit there and endorse such nonsense, her face flushed with anger as she stormed off the set mid-show, leaving the panel in stunned silence and Fieri looking bewildered yet defiant, the cameras capturing every moment of the chaos that would soon go viral across social media platforms, sparking debates about professionalism on live TV and the clash between entertainment and responsibility. But this was just the beginning of what would unfold as Behar's abrupt exit signaled a deeper rift, with insiders later revealing that tensions had been building behind the scenes for weeks, fueled by creative differences and scheduling conflicts, and as the commercial break ensued, producers scrambled to regroup, but Behar's decision to quit on the spot sent shockwaves through the network, her long tenure on the show coming to an unexpected end over what started as a simple recipe demo, highlighting the unpredictable nature of live television where personalities can clash in ways that change careers forever. And as word spread, fans and critics alike dissected the incident, some siding with Behar's stance on health awareness while others praised Fieri for standing his ground, turning the event into a cultural talking point that dominated headlines for days, with late-night shows parodying the fight and memes flooding the internet. But beneath the spectacle lay questions about the future of The View without one of its most iconic voices, as Behar's departure left a void that would be hard to fill. Her legacy of bold opinions now etched in this infamous moment, and while Fieri returned to his flavor-tone empire unscathed, the ripple effects of their on-air battle continued to resonate, reminding everyone that even in the world of talk shows, tempers can boil over like an untended pot on the stove. Following the explosive on-air altercation that left viewers glued to their screens in disbelief, the aftermath of Joy Behar's dramatic walk-off from The View unfolded like a scripted drama. But this was all too real, with network executives convening emergency meetings to address the fallout from the clash with Guy Fieri, whose guest spot was intended to bring some holiday cheer but instead ignited a firestorm of controversy, as Behar, still seething from the exchange where she accused Fieri of glorifying gluttony while he retorted by labeling her a joy killer who sucked the fun out of food, made her way to her dressing room, slamming the door behind her and immediately calling her agent to discuss her options. Sources close to the production revealing that Behar had been contemplating retirement for months amid growing frustrations with the show's direction, but this incident proved to be the final straw, pushing her to submit her resignation effective immediately, much to the surprise of her co-hosts who, during the next segment, awkwardly addressed the elephant in the room with Whoopi Goldberg offering a vague explanation about Behar needing a moment, all while the live audience whispered in confusion and social media erupted with hashtags like #Behar vs Fieri and #TheViewDrama trending worldwide. clips of the argument amassing millions of views within hours as commentators analyzed every word and gesture, some praising Behar for her principled stand against unhealthy lifestyles promoted by celebrity chefs, others criticizing her for being overly combative and ruining what could have been a fun interview. Meanwhile, Fieri, ever the showman, took to his own social channels to post a light-hearted video from Flav Ortone, joking about the heated debate and inviting Behar to a cook-off to settle their differences, but Behar, in a rare post-quit statement released through her publicist, expressed no regrets, stating that she could no longer participate in a platform that prioritized sensationalism over substance, her words resonating with fans who had followed her career from stand-up comedy to becoming a staple on daytime TV, and as the news broke officially that evening on entertainment outlets, speculation swirled about potential replacements, with names like Rosie O'Donnell or even a fresh face being tossed around. But the immediate impact was felt in the show's ratings, which spiked dramatically due to the buzz, proving that controversy sells, yet at what cost to the personal lives involved, as Behar retreated to her home in the Hamptons to reflect on her next chapter, perhaps writing a memoir or launching a podcast where she could speak freely without the constraints of network television, while Fieri continued his tour of greasy spoons across America, unfazed by the backlash and even gaining new followers who appreciated his unapologetic vibe, the incident serving as a stark reminder of how quickly a simple disagreement can escalate into a career-altering event in the high-stakes world of broadcast media, where egos are as big as the audiences, and every word can be a potential landmine, leaving The View to navigate its future without Behar's fiery presence, a change that promised to reshape the dynamic of the beloved talk show for seasons to come. As the dust began to settle from the unprecedented on-air meltdown between Joy Behar and Guy Fieri on The View, the entertainment industry buzzed with reactions from celebrities, pundits, and everyday viewers alike, turning what was meant to be a festive cooking segment into a case study on conflict resolution or the lack thereof in live broadcasting, with Behar's decision to quit reverberating through Hollywood circles, prompting discussions about the pressures faced by longtime hosts in an era of instant viral moments, as former co-hosts like Meghan McCain shared supportive messages on social media, commending Behar for her authenticity even in heated times, while others, including Food Network personalities, rallied behind Fieri, arguing that Behar's attack on his culinary philosophy was uncalled for and overly personal. The argument itself replayed endlessly on news loops, showing the moment when Behar slammed her hand on the table, exclaiming that Fieri's recipes were a public health hazard, to which he responded with a smirk, suggesting she try lightening up and enjoying life instead of critiquing from the sidelines. The exchange highlighting deeper cultural divides between indulgence and restraint, fun and responsibility, that resonated far beyond the studio walls, and in the days following, ABC issued a statement expressing regret over the incident and wishing Behar well on her future endeavors, but insiders whispered that the network was relieved, citing Behar's increasingly outspoken nature as a liability in today's polarized climate. Meanwhile, Fieri capitalized on the publicity by announcing a special episode of his show dedicated to healthy twists on guilty pleasures, a clever pivot that turned the negative attention into a positive for his brand, as Behar, now free from her contractual obligations, began fielding offers from streaming services interested in her unfiltered take on current events, perhaps a solo show where she could rant without interruption, her fans launching petitions for her return but to no avail, as she stood firm in her choice, reflecting on her decades-long career that included Emmy wins and best-selling books, all built on her no-holds-barred style that ultimately led to this explosive exit, the media frenzy continuing with tabloids speculating on behind-the-scenes drama, including rumored feuds with other hosts that may have contributed to her snapping point, but Behar remained tight-lipped, choosing instead to spend time with family and pursue personal passions like activism and writing. While The View soldiered on with guest hosts filling her chair, the chemistry noticeably altered without her signature sarcasm, and as analysts predicted a dip in viewership post-scandal, the show surprised many by adapting, incorporating more diverse voices to fill the gap, yet the memory of that fateful day lingered, a testament to how one argument can redefine legacies. with Fieri emerging as the unlikely victor in the court of public opinion for his cool-headed response, and Behar as the principled warrior who chose integrity over staying in a role that no longer fit, the story evolving into urban legend status among TV enthusiasts, inspiring think pieces on the evolution of talk shows and the fine line between entertainment and confrontation, delving deeper into the ramifications of Joy Behar's abrupt resignation from The View following her fiery on-air spat with Guy Fieri. The incident sparked a broader conversation about the role of celebrity guests in talk shows and the boundaries of acceptable discourse, as critics dissected the segment frame by frame, noting how what began as a jovial demo of Fieri's signature dishes devolved into a personal attack when Behar questioned the nutritional value, leading to Fieri accusing her of being out of touch with everyday Americans who crave comfort food, the back-and-forth escalating until Behar, feeling undermined, declared she was done and left the set, her exit captured in high definition and shared across platforms like TikTok and Instagram, where users created duets mimicking the argument, turning it into a meme sensation that boosted both parties' visibility, but at a personal cost to Behar, who faced a barrage of online trolls calling her bitter. While supporters hailed her as a voice for health advocacy in a junk food-saturated culture, the network's PR team working overtime to spin the narrative, emphasizing the show's commitment to lively debates without endorsing any side. Yet the damage was done, with advertisers reportedly pulling spots temporarily amid the controversy, forcing producers to rethink guest bookings and segment formats to avoid similar blow-ups. Meanwhile, Fieri's team leveraged the moment by releasing merchandise like Flavor Tone vs. Critics t-shirts, capitalizing on his everyman appeal, as Behar, in interviews granted to select outlets, elaborated on her decision, revealing that the fight was symptomatic of larger issues, including creative control and the pressure to generate clicks through conflict. Her candor earning respect from peers like Barbara Walters, who founded the show and praised Behar's contributions over the years, the vacancy prompting auditions for new co-hosts, with speculation about bringing in someone with a culinary background to bridge the gap, but the core audience mourned the loss of Behar's liberal perspective that often sparked the most engaging discussions. Her legacy, including memorable moments from political rants to celebrity interviews, now overshadowed by this final act, and as time passed, reconciliation rumors surfaced when Fieri extended an olive branch via a public apology video, inviting Behar to guest on his show for a rematch cook-off, but she politely declined, focusing instead on new ventures like a potential Netflix special documenting her life post-View. The incident ultimately benefiting the entertainment landscape by highlighting the need for better moderation in live settings, preventing future implosions, while reminding viewers that behind the glamour, hosts are human with breaking points. The story of Behar and Fieri becoming a cautionary tale in broadcasting textbooks, illustrating how a single episode can alter trajectories and spark cultural shifts, reflecting on the long-term impact of the sensational clash that led to Joy Behar quitting The View after her explosive argument with Guy Fieri. The event not only reshaped the show's panel but also influenced the broader media ecosystem, encouraging other programs to implement stricter guidelines for guest interactions to prevent on-air disasters, as Behar transitioned into a new phase of her career, launching a successful podcast titled Joy Unfiltered, where she dissected current events with the same vigor that defined her time on TV. Her listener base growing rapidly thanks to the notoriety from the Fieri incident, which she addressed in the premiere episode with humor and hindsight, admitting that while she stood by her words, the delivery could have been tempered. Meanwhile, Fieri's popularity soared, with his shows seeing a ratings bump as curious viewers tuned in to see the man who took down a talk show legend, his brand expanding into healthier recipe lines to counter the criticism, proving adaptability in the face of adversity. The View itself underwent a soft reboot, introducing rotating guests and themed weeks to keep the format fresh without Behar's anchoring presence, her former co-hosts paying tribute in a special episode dedicated to her contributions, sharing anecdotes that humanize the fiery personality behind the headlines. But the void was palpable, with viewership fluctuating as audiences adjusted to the change. Social media continuing to fuel the narrative with fan theories about hidden animosities and potential comebacks. Though Behar quashed reunion rumors, content with her independence, The Clash inspiring satirical sketches on shows like Saturday Night Live, where impersonators recreated the moment with exaggerated flair, cementing it in pop culture lore, and as analysts reviewed the financial implications, noting increased ad revenue from the buzz offsetting any initial losses, the story underscored the double-edged sword of viral moments in media, boosting exposure while risking reputations. Behar emerging stronger, authoring a book on speaking one's truth in a censored world, while Fieri donated proceeds from a special burger challenge to health charities, turning lemons into lemonade, the reconciliation never fully materializing but mutual respect acknowledged in passing interviews, the incident serving as a pivotal point in both careers, propelling them in unexpected directions and reminding the industry that authenticity, even when messy, connects with audiences on a profound level, ultimately transforming a potential career-ending blow-up into a launching pad for reinvention. In the grand tapestry of television history, the day Joy Behar quit The View amid her on-air feud with Guy Fieri stands out as a landmark moment of unscripted drama, encapsulating the raw energy that makes live TV compelling yet perilous. As years later, retrospectives would revisit the clip, analyzing how a discussion on food escalated to personal jabs, with Behar's parting words echoing her frustration and Fieri's retorts defending his empire, the fallout leading to industry-wide changes like mandatory conflict training for hosts and guests, Behar's post-quit life flourishing with speaking engagements and advocacy work, her influence undiminished, while Fieri's star continued to rise, collaborating with health experts to balance his indulgent image, The View evolving into a more collaborative space, attracting new talent that brought fresh perspectives, yet always nodding to Behar's foundational role, fan conventions celebrating the show's history often featuring panels on iconic moments, this one topping the list for its sheer unpredictability, social media archives preserving the memes and reactions that defined the era, both figures occasionally referencing the event in good spirits, acknowledging it as a bizarre chapter that boosted their profiles, the story inspiring aspiring broadcasters to embrace passion but wield it wisely, ultimately proving that from conflict can come growth, redefining success in the ever-changing landscape of entertainment, where one explosive fight can quit a job but ignite endless possibilities.